Hey there. Tonight, we're stepping back, way back, into a time when justice wasn't debated in courtrooms with lawyers in fancy robes, but carried out in town squares, with blood on cobblestones and silence in the air afterward. You aren't just hearing a story. You are the story. You are a man or woman of the ancient world. Maybe you're from the dusty alleys of Babylon, the wind-swept plains near the Euphrates, or the shadowed valleys of the Hittite highlands. You've seen things, done things. And now, you're about to become part of something far bigger than yourself. This isn't your average bedtime tale. We're diving deep into the gritty, grim, and strangely bureaucratic world of ancient punishment, where public executions weren't just entertainment. They were lessons. Morality plays with real blood. But here's the twist no one talks about. What happens after the executioner's blade falls? What becomes of the condemned? And why did societies slowly stop watching? So, dim the lights. Let the fire crackle. Tonight, you'll live a life you were never taught about in school. And by morning, you might just understand why silence followed the gallows. Let's begin. You wake up to the sound of goats bleating outside your mud brick home. The sun hasn't fully cleared the eastern hills yet, but already the smell of baking bread and dung smoke fills the air. You rub the sleep from your eyes. It's another day in the city of Eshnuna, sometime around 2000 BCE. You're a craftsman, skilled in shaping obsidian blades, but lately, business has been slow. People are tense. A murder happened at the market last week. Someone stabbed a spice trader over a silver shekel. Now, everyone's looking over their shoulders. You don't think much of it as you sip your weak barley tea. But today, as you walk toward the market square, you notice more guards than usual. Whispers follow you. Someone saw you arguing with the dead trader 2 days ago. They say you owed him money. You don't remember it that way. But in this city, perception is guilt. By midday, a town crier calls for order. The magistrate is assembling near the ziggurat steps. You feel the eyes of the crowd on you. You're not sure if it's suspicion or fear that you might be next. They take you just before sundown. No formal arrest, no reading of rights, just 2 guards grabbing your arms and dragging you through the narrow alleys. The stones are uneven, and you stumble once, but they don't stop. The marketplace is nearly empty now, save for a few lingering traders packing up their wares. You catch a glimpse of your reflection in a brass bowl at a merchant's stall. You look tired, terrified. They bring you before the city magistrate beneath the ziggurat. He's an older man with a long, groomed beard and eyes like flint. Behind him, a scribe etches everything into clay. You're accused of theft and murder. You shout your innocence, but no one listens. There are no lawyers here, no juries, just the word of a dead man, a few witnesses, and the magistrate's frown. You're thrown into a stone cell beneath the temple. It's damp and smells of mildew and urine. There's no bed, just a pile of straw that might once have been clean. You sit down heavily, your mind racing. You wonder if anyone will speak for you. You wonder if you'll ever see the sun again. The cell is cold, despite the desert heat outside. You sit in silence, listening to the distant howls of stray dogs and the occasional clank of metal from the guard post above. Time loses meaning here. You try counting bricks on the wall, but there are too many. You think about your family. Did they hear what happened? Do they even believe you're innocent? A small slot in the door opens, and a guard slides in a piece of flatbread and a cup of sour goat milk. That's your dinner. You eat because you have to. Survival is the only plan right now. Later that night, Another prisoner is thrown into the cell across from you. He's bloody, his face swollen. He mutters something about a robbery gone wrong. You nod politely, not trusting anyone just yet. As you lie on the straw, staring at the low ceiling, you realize something terrible. No one is coming to save you. The trial will happen soon, if it hasn't already been decided. And when it does, there's a good chance you won't leave this city alive. The trial comes quicker than you expected. No one tells you when. One moment, you're lying in the straw, and the next, the guards are dragging you back up the stone steps into the blinding sunlight. The courtyard is packed. Merchants, farmers, children, all craning their necks to see the drama unfold. You feel hundreds of eyes boring into your skin. The magistrate sits on a carved stone throne, his expression unreadable. Your accusers step forward first. The spice trader's brother, a shopkeeper who claims you threatened the victim, and a priest who says the gods demand justice. You try to speak, to explain, but the magistrate silences you with a wave of his hand. There's no cross-examination, no defense, just accusations, and then his verdict. Guilty. The crowd murmurs in approval. You're sentenced to death by stoning. They don't say when, but you know it won't be long. As they drag you back down, you hear someone in the crowd shout your name, but it's not in support. It's a warning to others. They don't stone you right away. First, there's a waiting period. 3 days, they say. Enough time for the gods to weigh in, or for someone to change their mind. But no one comes. Your family doesn't show. Your friends have disappeared. You're alone. They move you to a different cell, smaller, windowless, with only a hole in the floor for waste. The straw is gone. You sit on bare stone, your legs crossed, trying to meditate like the priests do, but all you can think about is the pain. The stones, the end. On the second night, you hear chanting outside. Priests are preparing the ritual grounds near the city's edge. They're building a platform. You know what that means. You drift in and out of sleep, haunted by the faces of those you've known. You wonder if this is what justice looks like, or if it's just fear wearing a robe. They don't kill you right away. Not that you're grateful. It's not mercy, just procedure. The magistrate has deemed that the gods must have time to consider your fate, or perhaps it's just theater, giving the townsfolk a few days to get used to the idea of your death. Either way, you're given 3 days, 3 sunrises, 3 nights in the dark. The first night drags like molasses in winter. They move you to a deeper section of the prison beneath the temple, a place reserved for those already sentenced. The air is damp, tasting faintly of mold and old incense. Your straw pallet is gone, replaced by bare stone. You sit. You stare. You breathe. A small ventilation shaft lets in a sliver of moonlight, and through it, you watch dust particles float like lazy spirits. You think about escape. You think about pleading. You think about running home to your wife and the boy with the crooked tooth, but none of those thoughts lead anywhere. There's a guard outside your cell, leaning on a spear, humming some tune you don't recognize. You wonder if he's ever killed anyone. You wonder if he'll help you if you beg. Probably not. By the time the torches burn low, you've stopped thinking entirely. You just wait. The second day begins with the sound of boots on stone. 2 guards arrive, unshackle you from the wall loop and drag you, kicking slightly, not because you want to fight, but because your legs have fallen asleep, back up into the light. The sun blinds you. You squint against its brightness, feeling its heat on your face like a brand. They don't tell you where you're going, but you can guess. The courtyard. The platform. The inevitable. The walk is short, but feels endless. The city feels louder than before, as though every conversation pauses as you shuffle by in ropes. Children peek from doorways. Women pull their shawls tighter. A dog barks once, sharply, then goes silent. You pass the spice merchant's stall, the one the dead man owned. It's closed today. A black ribbon hangs from the awning. Superstitious nonsense, you think, but it stings anyway. They bring you to a holding pen near the ziggurat steps. There are others here. Thieves, liars, one man who tried to cheat a priest. You don't speak to any of them. There's nothing left to say. The execution platform looms ahead like a stage built for your final performance. It's a raised stone dais, about waist-high, smoothed by countless feet and ceremonies long forgotten. At the center is a single wooden post, no frills, no decoration, just function. Around it, priests in white linen robes stand in a semicircle, murmuring prayers under their breath. The magistrate sits on a carved stone chair, his expression carved from stone as well. They lead you up the 3 shallow steps and force you to your knees beside the post. Your wrists are bound tightly behind your back this time, the rope biting into your skin. You strain to turn your head, to see the crowd, but a guard prods you forward with the butt of his spear. The murmurs grow louder. You catch fragments. Deserved it. Spice trader. Should have paid. The high priest steps forward, lifting a bronze bowl filled with burning incense. The smoke coils upward in lazy spirals. You cough once. The scent is too sweet, too thick. This is it. The first stone hits your shoulder. It doesn't kill you, not even close. It stings, like being slapped with a hot rock, and you cry out instinctively, a sharp animal sound you didn't know you could make. Then another strikes your arm, then your back. The crowd has begun. Men, women, even children are hurling stones from the edges of the square. Some are small, others large enough to draw blood. You duck your head, but there's nowhere to hide. The post is behind you, and you're tied to it. Someone yells something you can't understand. Laughter mixes with anger. A stone slams into your knee, and you feel a snap. Pain blooms bright and hot. You try to curl inward to protect your head, but the ropes hold you upright. Every impact sends jolts through your body. You stop crying out after a while. There's no point. The priests chant louder now, their voices rising above the din. You wonder if this is what the gods wanted. The world goes dark. Not all at once, but gradually. Sounds fade. The stones stop hitting you. The chanting becomes a distant hum. Your body feels heavy, like it's sinking into the stone itself. You don't feel the final blow. Somewhere, a child cries. A woman screams. The priests fall silent. But you don't hear them. Your vision narrows to a pinprick, then vanishes altogether. The last thing you sense is the warmth of blood trickling down your neck, and the rough texture of the rope digging into your wrists. Then, nothing. The crowd begins to leave, slowly at first, like sand draining through an hourglass. A few people linger, their faces unreadable, as though waiting for something more. Closure, confirmation, a sign from the gods. But eventually, even they turn away. The sun dips lower, casting long shadows across the blood-stained stone of the execution platform. You're still tied to the post, or at least what's left of you is. No one comes to unbind you. No priest whispers a final prayer. The guards have stepped back, their expressions blank, as if they've done this 100 times and will do it 100 more. You're a spectacle that has served its purpose. A child tugs at his mother's robe and points toward the platform, but she pulls him away quickly, whispering, scolding him in a hushed voice. Somewhere in the distance, a donkey brays, breaking the heavy silence. The priests begin gathering their ceremonial tools, bowls, incense, robes. They avoid looking at the post. Whatever power your death was supposed to carry, it's already fading. The wind picks up, kicking up dust around your feet, swirling the dried blood into tiny crimson spirals. You're alone now. Truly alone. But even loneliness in this moment feels like relief. The shouting has stopped. The stones no longer fly. All that's left is the quiet and the slow, steady crawl of shadows across the square. Character appearance: lifeless, bloodied, slumped against the wooden post, limbs slack, face partially turned toward the fading sun, tunic torn and soaked with crimson. The priests return, not to praise your name or mourn your soul, but to clean up their mess. One of them, younger, with a streak of gray in his dark beard, approaches the platform with a wooden staff in hand. He mutters something under his breath, an incantation maybe, or just a prayer for strength. Behind him, 2 acolytes carry a stretcher made of woven reeds and linen. They work quickly, but not carelessly. The high priest directs them with sharp gestures, pointing to the blood pooled beneath the post, the scattered stones, the torn fabric that once covered your shoulders. They untie your body, finally, and lift you onto the stretcher with practiced efficiency. There's no ceremony in it, no reverence, just a job to be done before the sun sets completely. You're carried down the steps and away from the platform, your head lolling to one side, your limbs dangling like broken branches. The priests avoid looking at your face. Behind them, a junior acolyte sprinkles water mixed with salt over the bloodstains, muttering something about purification. The liquid hisses softly against the stone. The platform will be scrubbed by morning. The blood will be washed away. The stones will be swept clean, as if nothing happened. Back in the market, the spice trader's stall remains closed. A black strip of cloth hangs limply from the awning, fluttering in the dry breeze. People walk around it, avoiding eye contact. Some glance at it briefly, then look away quickly, as if guilt or grief might be contagious. A group of merchants huddle near the well, speaking in low voices. You catch fragments of their conversation. Should have paid his debts. Priests said it was the will of Shamash. Too harsh, if you ask me. No one agrees. No one disagrees either. A fruit seller shakes her head and mutters a prayer under her breath as she arranges figs in a clay basket. A boy runs past, chasing a wooden top, laughing as though nothing at all has changed. Life, as always, finds a way to move forward. The trial, the shouting, the stones, they all feel like a dream now. A bad one. The kind you wake from in a cold sweat, only to realize the real world is somehow worse. You're not there to see it, but you can imagine it. The way the square will fill again tomorrow. The way the spice trader's brother will return to his accounts. The way the city will pretend this never happened. Because that's what cities do. A child saw everything. He's no older than 6 or 7, with wide, frightened eyes and a thumb that hasn't left his mouth in days. His mother thought he was playing near the edge of the square, but he wasn't. He saw the guards bring you in. He saw the priests chant. He saw the first stone hit your shoulder. Now, he wakes screaming every night. His mother holds him close, rocking him in the dim light of a clay oil lamp. She whispers soothing words, but they don't help. The boy's face is pale. his body tense, his breathing shallow. "He's haunted," she tells her husband, and turns over in their straw bed. The father doesn't want to talk about it. He saw part of it too, and wishes he hadn't. The boy draws pictures in the dirt with a stick. Circles, squiggles, sometimes a stick figure man lying on the ground. No one asks him what it means, but the images linger in his mind, sharper than they should. The shouting, the stones, the way your body jerked with each impact. He doesn't understand justice. He doesn't understand guilt. All he knows is fear. And so does the city, though it pretends otherwise. The magistrate sits alone on the stone steps of the ziggurat. The trial is over. The verdict has been carried out. And yet, he can't stop thinking about you. Not about your guilt or innocence. Those questions have faded. What lingers is the sound of the crowd. The way they cheered as the first stone struck. The way they dispersed so quickly afterward, as if nothing had happened. He pours himself a cup of water from a clay jug and stares at the horizon, where the sun has nearly vanished. Was it justice? Or theater? He's asked himself that question 100 times since taking office, and he still doesn't have an answer. Around him, the temple guards stand at ease, but their presence feels hollow. The rituals continue, the sacrifices are made, the laws are read, but the heart of it all feels quieter. Maybe it's time for a change. The thought lingers unspoken as the first stars appear in the deepening blue sky. A new governor has arrived from the capital. He's a stern-looking man with a neatly trimmed beard and eyes that miss nothing. They say he served in the king's court for 20 years, prosecuting thieves, tax evaders, and rebellious governors before being sent here to clean up the province. And clean it up he will. On the morning following your execution, he calls a meeting in the temple courtyard. The priests, magistrates, and a few token merchants are summoned. He doesn't shout. He doesn't need to. His presence alone commands silence. He listens as the high priest defends the practice of public punishment, how it serves as a lesson to the wicked and deters future crimes. But the governor simply nods, then says, "It also incites mobs, and mobs have no loyalty to the law." No one argues. By midday, a decree is drafted. Public executions, he declares, are henceforth deemed uncivilized and destabilizing. They will be replaced with private, controlled punishments within the prison walls, or through other means deemed appropriate by the magistrate. The crowd outside, hearing rumors, begins to disperse. Some nod in agreement, others shrug. Change, as always, comes quietly. Until it doesn't. Executions no longer take place in the open. They happen inside the prison now, behind high walls, away from spectators, away from the eyes of the curious and the cruel. The platform you died on? It's still there for now, gathering dust and bird droppings. But the next condemned man won't meet his fate beneath the sun and the stares of hundreds. Instead, he'll be taken to a small stone chamber beneath the barracks, where no one can hear his screams or his final words. The priests are unhappy, of course. They claim the gods no longer witness the punishment, and therefore it lacks spiritual weight. But the new governor ignores them. He has seen what mob justice does to a city. He prefers order. The guards adjust quickly. They're relieved not to drag prisoners through jeering crowds anymore. The work is cleaner, quieter, and far less likely to end in riots. You'd think people would miss the drama, but they don't. The punishment for lesser crimes is no longer death. Now, it's exile. A thief caught stealing grain or a beggar caught stealing bread isn't killed. He's chained at the ankles, given a water skin and a loaf of flatbread, and marched out of the city gates. Beyond the fields, past the olive groves, past where the desert begins to rise, he's left to survive on his own. Sometimes he makes it, sometimes he doesn't. Either way, the city is rid of him. No blood, no stones, no spectacle. The first exile is a young man caught stealing copper wire from a merchant's cart. He doesn't argue as the guards bind his hands. He just looks back once, toward the city walls, before the gate slams shut behind him. The crowd watches quietly. No one cheers. No one throws stones. It's almost peaceful. No one remembers your name. Not the baker, not the blacksmith, not even the spice trader's brother who once shouted the loudest for your blood. Your story, once so vivid to the people of Ashnuna, has faded like ink spilled in the rain. Children playing in the square don't hear tales of the man who stole the wind, or the fool who argued with a dead man. The ball they chase bounces over the very spot where you fell, but no one points it out. Even the priests, when asked, shrug. Some criminal, one mutters, punished, that's all. There is no monument, no annual remembrance, no song. Just silence. Public executions become a thing of the past. First, they're rare. Then, they're forgotten. Then, they're unnecessary. The people no longer gather to watch. They no longer cheer. They no longer feel safer because a man died in the dirt beneath their feet. Instead, justice becomes quieter, more procedural, less personal. The magistrates still pass judgment. The guards still enforce the law. But the theater is gone. And with it, something else disappears too. The hunger for vengeance as public sport. A wandering bard sings a vague tale in a distant village. He calls it the Ballad of the Wind Thief, a story about a man who argued with the gods and was crushed by stones for his pride. The children clap. The adults nod politely. No one recognizes the story. No one realizes it's about you. The bard doesn't know either. He heard it from another traveler who heard it from a drunk in a tavern. By the time the song reaches the city, it's been softened, shortened, stripped of truth. And that's how legends are born. The city thrives. Trade routes reopen. The markets bustle. The temples are full, but not with fear. Now, with gratitude. People laugh in the streets. Children chase each other without worry. The guards smile more often than not. You are not missed. Another murder happens. It's not you this time. Just some poor scribe found stabbed in his home near the canal. His ledgers spilled across the floor like spilled grain. The murderer is caught within 2 days. A jealous husband, they say, though no one knows for certain. The city holds its breath, expecting the usual, a public display, a stoning, a spectacle. But it doesn't come. Instead, the man is quietly taken to the prison beneath the barracks. The magistrate reviews the evidence, nods, and issues a sentence. Death, but carried out inside the stone chamber, away from the public eye. No crowd gathers, no one cheers. The execution is swift. Strangulation, performed by the chief guard with a leather cord. There's no ritual, no chanting, no priestly blessing, just silence. A body, and a shovel full of lime to speed decomposition. The scribe's family is compensated. The murderer is buried in an unmarked pit outside the city, and that's it. No one talks about it much afterward. There's no song, no tale passed down, just another name lost to time. The people no longer gather to watch punishment. There's no thrill in it anymore. no sense of shared vengeance, no feeling of moral superiority gained by watching a man die beneath a pile of stones. Instead, justice happens behind closed doors, quietly, efficiently, without applause. The guards still do their jobs, of course, but there's less swagger in their step, less pleasure in the suffering of others. They're civil servants now, more bureaucrat than butcher. When a thief is caught, he's fined or flogged in private. When a murderer is sentenced, the execution is swift and clinical. The square, once filled with jeering voices and flying stones, is now filled with merchants, children, and the smell of fresh bread. No one misses the blood. People stop coming to watch. At first, a few still lingered near the prison gates, hoping for a glimpse of blood or a shouted confession. But over time, even that stopped. Why watch death when you can watch your children play? Why cheer for a stoning when you can buy dates from a smiling vendor? The spectacle lost its shine. The platform where you died, once the center of public judgment, is now just another broken stone in the corner of the square. Weeds grow through its cracks. Goats sometimes nap near its base. No one notices. No one cares. Justice is still served, but it's no longer a show. Prisons are built. Real prisons. With walls, locks, and barred windows. No more tossing criminals into muddy pits or locking them in smoky temple basements. The new prison is a proper structure, stone-built, with separate cells, a central guard post, and even a small exercise yard for those sentenced to hard labor. It's not comfortable, but it's not meant to be. The idea is containment, not cruelty. Rehabilitation, if possible. Public shame, no longer necessary. The first inmates are murderers, thieves, and one man who tried to burn down a grain silo. They're given water, bread, and a straw mat. And silence. Lots of silence. You are forgotten. Not just by the crowd, but by everyone. There is no one left who remembers your face. No one who recalls your name. No one who remembers the sound of your voice, or the way you argued with the spice trader, or the way you stumbled as they dragged you to the platform. Your story is not passed down to children. It is not sung by bards. It is not etched into clay or painted onto temple walls. You are a ghost with no altar. Even the priests, who once invoked your death as a warning, have moved on to newer tales of morality and myth. Your punishment meant something once. Now it means nothing. The execution platform crumbles. The stone cracks under decades of rain and sun. Weeds push through its surface. Lizards make their homes in its crevices. Eventually, someone decides it's no longer needed. The platform is torn down, piece by piece, and used to build a cattle pen, or maybe a bakery. No one remembers exactly. The stones are repurposed. The bloodstains are washed away by time. What was once a place of judgment becomes part of the earth again. Humble, forgotten, ordinary. Priests stop talking about you. Your name vanishes from their sermons. Your story is not used as a warning. Your death is not cited as divine justice. Instead, they speak of forgiveness, of redemption, of turning away from vengeance. The gods, they say, prefer mercy over bloodshed. It's a convenient shift, but also perhaps a necessary one. The guards grow bored, without crowds to impress, without shouts to echo, without the thrill of dragging a criminal through the streets. Their work feels dull. They still guard the gates, still patrol the markets, still keep the peace. But the excitement is gone. Now it's just routine, just duty, just quiet. The city thrives, trade flourishes, families grow, children laugh in the streets. No one thinks about you. No one thinks about the stones. No one thinks about the blood. They think about crops, about prices, about festivals. Life moves forward. A scholar writes about the old ways. He records the history of public punishment in a clay scroll, noting how it was once seen as both justice and entertainment. He doesn't judge it. He simply observes. The crowd demanded blood, he writes, but the gods required balance. His words are stored in a library no one visits often. The age of public punishment dies quietly, not with a shout, not with a stone, but with silence. One day, it's simply gone. You are a warning that no one remembers. Your story is not told to frighten children. It is not used to teach lessons. It is gone. Silence. That's all that remains. The square is empty. The platform is dust. The memory of you has faded into the earth. No one remembers your crime. No one remembers your name. No one remembers the stones. And maybe that's how it should be. And so the square grows quiet. The stones wear smooth. The people find new ways to punish, new ways to heal. Justice evolves, as all things must. You were the spark, perhaps, the last loud crack of a dying tradition. Tonight, as you lay your head down in your modern bed, surrounded by silence and safety, remember, the world was not always so gentle, but it became so. Slowly, painfully, and with stories like yours echoing in the winds of time. Sleep well. The past is finally still.